would like to bring to the stage my very dear friend, Miss Linda Nardelli. And we've known each other for a very long time. I don't remember how I met her, but I know that I needed her. And it was a time in my life where I was going through lots of challenge. And as intuitive as I was, the first thing to know about is that sometimes you just can't intuit yourself and you need to go somewhere else. And I was going through, I'll say, a marital status change that was just a little bit stressful. There you go. There's an elegant way. And I just needed some support and I needed someone else's advice. And so I went to her for spiritual mentorship, really spiritual mentorship and guidance. And so if you have not met Miss Linda Nardelli, let me introduce her properly. She is an international best-selling author, and not only with our book, but with this book, which is gorgeous, Mystical Intimacy. This is super beautiful, entering into a conscious relationship with your spirit and human nature. So this is super beautiful. And anyways, she is a spiritual mentor, counselor, and again, author of the ever so popular Mystical Intimacy. She's also in our book as well. The topic, I mean, it's going to flow, because if you know anything about Linda, it's going to flow. I think we're going to talk about longing. We're going to talk about the feminine way. She loves to dance when she's cooking. Okay, that's fair. She loves to dance when she's cooking. And she really loves her dad's music. So the music that she's listening to is Ricky Nardelli. And that's also very fair. She's gifting 3 spots in the Inner Compass Mentorship Circle and a private body soul integration session. And that's really beautiful. Her gifts today is over $1,500. And everyone gets a soul essence quiz to find out all about your own soul essence. So Linda, welcome to the Stand Up, Speak Up, and Show Up stage. This isn't the first time you've been here, but we're so happy that you came back.
Thank you. Thank you. There's something you don't know about me.
Oh, well, do tell.
Yeah, in my mid-20s, I shaved my hair off. I had my hair down to like super long and I shaved it. And I got so much flack for it. So thank you, Allison, for what you were sharing, because I remember getting so, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Well,
yeah.
yeah, no, I did not know that about you. And here, women are starting to share their hair stories. You know what? It's kind of like the best kept kitchen party. Like, when you're in the kitchen and one person starts talking about something, then another person starts talking, and you're like, next thing you know, who knew there was so many hair stories? But let's talk a little bit about the feminine way, mystical intimacy. Can you explain and bring us up to your interpretation of what that is?
Mystical intimacy is the marriage between our spiritual nature and our human nature. And you've heard the expression that we are spirits having a human experience. Well, I challenge that a little bit. I like that. Plus, we are human beings experiencing a spiritual emergence. And that's important to me because our human nature, in many spiritual circles, our human nature is seen as the weak link. It's seen as not being pure enough. For some of us that have brought up Christian, was brought up Catholic, it was seen as not being, it's like it's sinful. Or in Buddhism, it's egotistical. And I can't tell you how many people come to see me in my private practice who are trying to measure up to this idealized version of being good enough, enlightened enough. And one person spent the first 20 minutes of her session really needing for me to understand. She was so sorry, so guilty. She kept apologizing for being angry about something in her life. And each time I tried to get closer to what she was angry about, she's like, no. And she's so much shame around anger. Until she got curious. I'm like, oh, I wonder what this resentment feels like in your body. I wonder what it's expressing. And I talk about that in Mystical Intimacy, which is a combination of my storytelling, my mentoring, and channel guidance. And through receiving channel guidance, through that intuitive work, I've come to understand that emotions like anger need to flow, not be repressed and told that it's not good enough or not awakened enough. And so the big part of mystical intimacy is very much an awakening to our human beingness. Let's celebrate it. Let's take pleasure. And yeah, pleasure in delicious food, pleasure in sexuality, pleasure in joyousness, and pleasure feeling raw emotions. Because when we feel those raw emotions like anger or like fear or like shame, those feelings aren't alone anymore. They have a friend, a best friend. We become that sisterhood soup all in our own relationship with ourselves and between our spirit and human nature.
Oh, well said, my friend. And I think as you were talking, it was like so many times we apologize. We literally say it to people. So I'm sorry, right? Sorry, I'm just really pissed off right now. Like, how about, excuse me, I just need a few moments. I'm really pissed off right now. But apologizing when we're not happy, apologizing when we're not gleeful. And I can absolutely see how apologizing for not being our interpretation of what spirituality means. It's like, and it kind of can, it's its own gig, right? It's its own box that doesn't allow you to be human. Because it's interesting, you're like, oh yeah, that's just human nature. And we say it very nonchalantly. Well, it's just human nature until we're not comfortable in our own skin. Then it doesn't feel like human nature because it's not nice or easy or flowing. It feels like a block. It feels like a challenge. But truly, it's just like, it's not a good day. There's times where I've said to Ocean, the best thing about today is it's going to end soon. You know what I mean? Like that's true, right? Longing, you talk about I think it's chapter 4 where you talk about longing. And if there's anything more that you want to say about the human and spirit nature, please do. But I also love to touch on your concept of longing.
That's in every chapter of the book. It's a thread that weaves throughout, but particularly in chapter 4, which I tell people, just skip to chapter 4, just go read about longing. Because, and back to the rising of the feminine way, for me, longing is our connection to the feminine. It's our connection to resonance, to what feels alive in us. And I'm all about developing an intimate connection with longing. Otherwise, we're living outside of ourselves, trying to actualize, trying to make something happen, living externally in a yang, masculine, linear way. And it's not easy being with longing because it's not linear. It has spirals. It drags us into the past. It drags us into this depth of emotion that we've been told not to feel. And we've been especially told that as women. We've been especially told, and of the derogatory terms that so many of us hear around being deeply feeling. And I see this time and time again in my private practice, and I see that in my mentorship circle, group of people that come together, both men and women, that struggle with this sensitivity they have, with this empath nature they have. And I'm about, let's make room, let's invite that in. Because longing, this is something really interesting about longing. Pretend I'm drawing, pretend this is an arrow here. This longing, ultimately it's a longing to connect. A longing to be more truly who we are, connect with spirit, connect with one another. It's bringing us into this direction. And going in the opposite direction is a drive to survive. It's all the ways that we're saying no to ourselves and each other. And that feminine aspect is so much of what we've been saying no to because it can't be measured. It can't be controlled. We can't control the feminine whatsoever. It seeps out, it comes out of the seams. And that's what I'm loving here is we're coming together to change the story, to say, yes, we can. And I want to mention something about that. Because the key message here in the 262, in the mission accept, in the book, in this summit, in this movement, it is a movement, it's to stand up, show up, be who we are, be visible. And I know from experience that's not easy. My first therapist, her work with me, I worked with her for 5 years, and she knew I was an intuitive, and she worked to get me out of hiding. Because my instinct with my childhood, my trauma, my family that was so conditioned around depression, loss, was to hide. You know, what do you do with family, with parents that are fighting? They're splitting up, coming back together. By the time I was 8, I had been to 7 schools. By the time I was 16, I quit school. I went back later. I had been to 17 schools, just how much upheaval there was. And the key component to what made me want to hide all the more is that I learned that being a woman has its vulnerability. My mother was a very sensual and beautiful woman, but she was murdered. She died when I was very young. I was 8 and she was young. She was 30. And so to me, and I had to unravel that in therapy. Why? It's why process healing, integrative therapy is so important to me. And I was so blessed so early in life because I met a therapist that was highly spiritual. And so she could hold space for my spirituality to blossom, because that I needed that. It's through my connection with spirit that I could make sense of my mother's passing, and I can make sense of my family's conditioning, their story around it. And it's through my spiritual path and writing the book and my work that I learned to find my own interpretation, my own narrative of my mother. Because my family's narrative was that it was clouded in by so much pain, by so much grief. That whole upbringing, that whole environment was sorrowful. My book, my life, it's been about really reimagining that, giving that a new story. I'm constantly reframing reality, and I'm constantly exploring that with my clients, either with one-on-one in the mentorship circle, or the folks that read my book, because they're drawn to this to connect with something greater.
Wow. Well, first of all, that was beautiful. It was almost poetic, and how you talked about your integration of yourself in amongst what was going on, in amongst having someone come and really, what a blessing to have someone that you found that was able to not only address your issues or challenges or whatever you want to call them, your the disturbances in one's soul,
Mm-hmm.
to be able to allow a spiritual approach or conditioning while you're going through something like that. It's just very growth based. People are new for the most part, I think, in relationship to body and spiritual integration. I mean, you can go, I went and had a massage and it felt really good.
Mm-hmm.
I feel better about myself because there was that time and space. Can you talk? I know that you do a body soul integration, and people are like, wow, that sounds really good. But I'm not sure if, can you explain what that is so people understand? Because when you talk about your therapist working with you in that way and working with you in that way, it felt very integrative.
It is. It was. It's coming back to the wisdom of the human nature, the wisdom of the body, the wisdom that's showing up in sensations. As an intuitive, I see and sense a lot. I track people. As a channeler, I bring in so much guidance and information. But interestingly, That's not really what's important to me in this work. What's important to me is the resonance. It's what lands, what settles. I in all of my work, I do an opening ritual where I welcome both of our availability, the person, myself, the group, myself, so that we can be willing to receive healing and guidance from source, but not just source that moves through me, but source that moves through their own lived experience. And so if there's a tightening in their chest, if they're getting butterflies or discomfort in some area of their body, I want to get close to that. If there's a pattern of resistance, oh, let's get close to that. I work best with people that are like so willing to admit that they're in resistance and they don't like what we're doing. I had somebody say that just the other day. Said, "Why are we here?" And before I answered, I'm like, where would you like to be? And it's just intuitive. She couldn't answer right away. We explored what she was struggling with in terms of where we were, but she ended the session with an insight of where her life was moving, like the direction her life was going. And I didn't have to say that to her. She came into that on her own, that's the exciting part of all this.
Wow.
Hey,
I know
there's
that
something.
Oh, go.
There's something I heard recently, and is that trauma, it doesn't come up as a memory. It comes up as a reaction. And that's important to me because oftentimes people, they're afraid of therapy. They're afraid of intuitive work. They're afraid of counseling and coaching because they don't want to face that memory or they don't want to relive it. And we're reliving it in reaction. That's what we need to get close to, because the closer we can get to the reaction, the more we can give that part of us that's been traumatized the medicine it needs. So this integration, this body-centered work has to do with, in the present, giving the past what it didn't get. It didn't get accepted in many cases. It didn't get welcomed in many cases. My fear is not something my family had a lot of space and tolerance for. And yet it shows up. It's in the body. So how can we become that thing that shows up, that trauma response? How can we become its best friend?
Oh, wow. So as we're wrapping up, and I was going to ask you this question because it might seem very vast because we're talking in spiritual nature and human nature. And I love what you just said about trauma. Like, we think we've left it in the past until an experience awakens us, or we're functioning in a way that's not functional. And the string goes back, right? And so traveling, recognizing it, allowing it, giving it peace, giving it the acceptance or what have you that it needed, allows you to at least know if you're in trigger, at least know, oh, this doesn't sound like Deb or feel like Deb. This is, whatever it is that we come to the place that we have our traumas in. So for people that have never gone to a spiritual session, have never explored that part of themselves, never gone, what are some of the things that bring people into your world? Or if someone's got something going on, well, how does it show up in the world? Is it I'm at a different job with the same boss? Is it that, like, what is it that kind of has been taking people from the physical into exploring under the skin a little bit?
Yeah. This work draws people from all walks of life, men and women. One thing they have in common, well, two things. One, they have a longing for more. They're yearning to connect at a more meaningful level in their lives. They want to have a sense of their purpose and a sense of meaning and connection with others. And this work draws a lot of highly sensitive empaths because I'm an empath. I think just people just get drawn to working with me, and then I get to see them and help them accept who they are and help them learn how to work with how they naturally merge with people and how to take care of themselves in that way, because empaths merge all the time. So it's great when we merge with energy that's fun. It's not so great when we merge with discordance. So how do we work with that? But one of the key things that people they think they're coming to get fixed. They want to fix something and they want to resolve something, and they learn that they're not broken. Nothing needs to be fixed. What they learn is those gremlins that are showing up need to be loved. That's the last chapter of my book. It's all around just loving to overflowing.
Oh, I love that. What a beautiful way to breathe through that. Thank you so much. Thank you for, well, first of all, thank you for writing. Thank you for being, thank you for braving up. Thank you for being here. But what an elegant way to wrap that up. I definitely have a question for your gift, but I'm going to pass it over to Kathleen for a few minutes. I saw you nodding and writing. I know you, you're kind of, so thoughts, my friend Kathleen. Oh, we can't hear you, darling.
There we go. I hit the wrong button. Sorry. You know what? I love how this is all unfolding. And first of all, Linda, I could just like sit around you and listen to you like forever. I was going to say weeks, but that wouldn't be long enough. And thank you. Like it again, Deb is so masterful. She puts these in, puts us all in this order, and you know, it looks like names on a page. And then the way it comes out, you know, we heard Allison talk about, you know, get rid of the beliefs, you know, be who you are. And then we felt you come in and give us that full permission. And, you know, I'm telling you, I wanted to mount my horse and, you know, get my sword and ride through and say, you know what, it's over. The day where we as women are not allowed to stand up and feel what we feel, not allowed to represent ourselves in the way we are. I don't know what permission that in some parts of us were waiting for, but I think you just declared there is no permission needed. And I love how Deb picked up on, you know, sort of what I like to call past life traumas, because, you know, a lot of things we're carrying aren't even ours. Oh, and you pointed that out. And I know you're working that through your clients. And yeah, you know what if we all just stood up, shook off everything that wasn't serving us, everything that didn't feel good in our body, which you talked a lot about, getting in your body and feeling it. We have that capacity to know, don't we, that you're not where you need to be. And I love you for bringing that to us. And wow, just amazing. Just so amazing. Yeah.
Well, Kathleen, you're going to love it because Linda just dropped off a box of her books and they're going to go into the swag bag on June 6th. So I think you're coming a little early for the party. So that'd be great. You ladies, yeah, you ladies get to meet in person. I have a gift to give away. How wonderful is this? And I was trying to keep out of the trance of conversation with you because I can just go there with you and try to step back and go and see what a question is. But so again, gorgeous, beautiful, the inner compass mentorship circle, 3 spots, a private body soul integration, which is why I wanted you to explain what that felt like. Everyone is going to get the soul essence quiz. You can go in the chat and chat with Linda after. But you know what I loved when I was near the end, the very end, when I was asking her to kind of why people come to her, and you were like, you know, people are coming to you for all sorts of reasons. Things don't feel right. They have a longing, they have a need for deeper connection and all the kind of things. And one of the things that you said is they come to you to get, you know, a word that you would do if something was broken, and you tell them you're not broken. So they think they're broken and want to get what? That word with your email and the address, and then just to hear that you're not broken. You're not broken. So thank you, my friend. I so appreciate you being here.